very cool moment here in studio. Our buddies over at Death Wish Coffee are like, hey, we got a good friend coming into town today, and we want to see if you want to speak to him. And I was like, you guys will do anything to get on this show, I swear. You got me hooked on the coffee. You got great gear or whatever. And then they said Riki Rachtman, and I was like, really? Like, what, Riki? First of all, I want to talk about your ride.
Okay.
And I went to the website for Riki's ride, and I love, you got like the Tolkien quote, but it's been changed for you. Not all who wander are lost. Riki, however, he's probably lost.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I get lost. There is no producer. There is no, I'm doing a motorcycle ride through 48 states. There is no like setup thing and trailers or chase vehicle. I'm by myself, and I'm getting lost constantly. I'm getting lost constantly.
Well, so like a lot of former metalheads like myself feel like you already got lost. Like, how do you go from Headbangers Ball to NASCAR Guru? Like, how does, like, are you the face of metal to the voice of NASCAR?
I don't know why it's, and you're not the only person to say that. It's like, oh, what happened? You're not doing metal NASCAR. Let me tell you something. My whole life I've liked metal, I've liked hard rock, I've loved NASCAR, and I've been a biker. Okay, so I found a way to make a living in all three of those things. I also liked wrestling. I found a way to get a job in that. I mean, as long as somebody makes, if all of a sudden there's a show about eating a donut and drinking coffee, I'll probably host that too.
Can I co-host that one?
Yeah, that'd be fun. Okay, fine. I just made that up. But I mean, I've been lucky. I keep on, if you're going to, there's that quote about do what you love what you do. I am working in the things that I really like. I couldn't do a show about baseball because I hear you guys. You guys know so much with stats and about baseball. I don't know anything about baseball. I'm the first one to admit that. But if you're going to do a show about NASCAR, I'll tell you about NASCAR because I love NASCAR. Right. I've always loved NASCAR. I've got an old 43 tattoo and a 3 tattoo. I just hosted Richard Petty's birthday in Dover. Awesome. So to say, oh, well, why'd you go from that? It's like, well, because there are no more rock shows that want to hire me, and I created the NASCAR show because I want to talk about NASCAR and play rock and roll for a living.
I love it.
And I've always ridden motorcycles, so it's,
So it's just natural.
It's natural. I mean, You think of the three things when you're listening, think of the three things that you really like to do. And if you were going to make a show about one of them, and then you switch to the other one, it's like, this is just a natural progression,
I got to go back to Richard Petty's birthday. What was going on there, man?
Richard Petty has always been an idol to me. And his birthday, I think, is really in July. But I do a lot of stuff at Dover, the Monster Mile. And it was Richard Petty's birthday. And so they let me host it. And they're having his birthday like every racetrack. But they brought out me, Richard Petty, the president of the track, Mike Bagley, who's a big NASCAR porter. And I got to lead people to say I hate the song Happy Birthday, okay? My birthday's next week. Don't sing me Happy Birthday. I hate going to restaurants when people are singing Happy Birthday. It's stupid. However, when it's a king, right, Richard Petty's birthday, damn straight I'm going to say I sang Happy Birthday with Richard Petty, and so did about 4,000 people in front of me. But it was just cool, I mean, in rock and roll, I grew up in rock and roll, and I've always loved rock and roll. And, except when I'm meeting somebody like AC/DC or something like that, I don't get like, oh my God. But in racing, I came into racing late. So anytime I know anybody in the sport, it's a real thrill for me. And to walk by and Bobby Allison say, hey, how you doing? I mean, I don't know. He says that to everybody maybe. But to me, I was still like, dude, Bobby Allison just said hey to me. I mean, these things are thrilling to me because I came into this job as a fan and then turned it into a living. But I've never lost the fan. I hope I'm still the fan of music, of racing, and riding motorcycles.
Riki Rachtman with us right now. And speaking of fans, I got to let him go. The wrestling.
I get asked about WCW.
Oh, yeah, go right. You've been dying ever since I said you were coming here. This is all I've heard.
You might be going down a wormhole here right now. The old school wrestling, the 90s that I grew up in, man. The old Monday Night Wars. How did that happen? How did you end up in WCW?
Well, first of all, when I was working in WCW, there's an old footage of me with long hair working on WCW, many, many, many years ago. But I always liked wrestling. Okay. Right. What happened was I was doing talk radio in Los Angeles. It was like start in the morning, mean afternoon drive. I was big and I beat up a DJ and I got fired and lost everything. And then this guy, Jason Hervey from the Wonder Years, used to sit next to me at hockey games, and he was friends with Eric Bischoff. And I used to talk wrestling. He's like, do you want to try to get a job for WCW? And I'm like, oh my God, that would be another, why am I getting did I sell my soul or something? Why do I get all these gifts? So they put me out there with WCW, but the job they gave me is I was Mr. Nitro. So I was introducing things, and then I'm like, hey, it's spring break with Tough Actin' to Actin'. I'm like, oh God. It's I wanted to be a manager. And I remember one day, Eric Bischoff, I think he was a little bit drunk, and he's like, you know what? you're going to be bigger than Mean Gene. And I said, I don't want to be bigger than, there's nobody like Gene Okerlund. I don't want to be like Mean Gene because I'm not that good. I do want to be a manager because I'm an easy person to hate. And that never happened. But I did get to see the inner workings and, work with everybody. We had we had Scott Steiner then, and I was working with Ric Flair and Kevin Nash. And, I was there for the last WCW, and it was just some bitter rivalry between WCW and WWF at the time. And, it was just one more aspect of my careers that I was just like, and of course I got crap for that too. It was like, oh, now you're in wrestling. It's like, okay, so what? People think that I'll just jump to whatever's popular. No, the things that I like, and I've been in good places, good times, but the wrestling thing, they didn't ever let me do what I wanted to do, which was a shame. But I almost got powerbombed by Kevin Nash once in the NWO, and that was like, I'm glad they didn't, but I still really thought it was really cool.
Right. Well, yeah, because who can say that, outside of the actual, guys in tights, you got to go there.
Flair, Sting, and you guys have been beaten up by the NWO and a whole laundry list of people.
And it was fun. And, I did a thing called The Search for Miss Nitro, where I tour around, and
that's a hard job, right?
The girl that won was this girl from Chicago named Stacy Keebler. And she ended up winning Miss Nitro. And beautiful, could not be sweeter.
Really?
Just the nicest girl. And the thing was, I toured with the Nitro girls, and every single one of them treated me like their brother. They're like, oh my God, which of the Nitro girls? I'm like, no, they all treat me like a brother. Like, that was not my choice. I wanted to hook up with somebody. But I was like, the brother. I'm like, oh, that's really great. Like, we're all sitting around, all the girls are talking about guys, and raunchy too. And I'm like, I'm a guy here. You know that, right? You know that. I'm a guy. We're not sitting here having girl talk. So I don't know what it was.
So there you go. It hasn't all been, great. It hasn't all been candy and roses for you. You had to be in the friend zone for all the Nitro girls for all that time.
That's better than not being in the friend zone.
That's probably true. It's probably true. Riki Rachtman with us right now. So let's talk NASCAR. I got my buddies, big motorheads. They're all
good.
about
I love
talking
NASCAR.
So I was like, all right, you get a chance to ask questions. So these are the ones I get.
Okay.
First thing, will Dale Jr. win a race this season?
I sure hope so. It's Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s last season in NASCAR. Things have been bad for this weekend's race in Pocono. He's going to start from the back of the field because he had engine problems. We really need Junior to win a race. We need Junior to win the championship.
Yes.
I really want Junior to win a race.
Right. Okay. 2, was last weekend fixed for Jimmy Johnson?
Okay, your friend's stupid. Let me tell you something, okay? And I don't mean that because he's probably big like you. But the thing is, with NASCAR, people look at things the way they want them to be. Let me tell you something, everybody, and listen up. For those of you that think NASCAR's fixed, if NASCAR was fixed, Jimmy Johnson would not win a race. If NASCAR was fixed, our champion would be the most popular driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Everybody says, Jimmy Johnson's got such great luck. Oh, he won because of that last caution. Well, what about the week before when he was going to win the race, but he ran out of gas? Doesn't anybody talk about that?
Well,
no, whenever
sexy.
they talk about
it's not so much fun. It's not sexy when you do that.
No, but I understand because it's one of those sports that when you're really, really, really good, everybody wants you to, everybody's like, Kyle Busch sucks. Okay, he's probably one of the best drivers there is in NASCAR, and nobody wants to say that, and I understand why.
Right.
But no, it wasn't fixed. When Jimmy Johnson wins, it isn't fixed because that's what NASCAR wants Dale Jr. to win. They want Danica Patrick to win. Right. That's what NASCAR wants. NASCAR's not fixed.
All right, last one that I'll accept because you probably called them all stupid again. It's too funny.
He's not stupid. He's like a lot of fans with conspiracy theories.
Will Carl Edwards ever win a race again in NASCAR?
Carl Edwards isn't racing anymore.
Well, will he ever get in a race again?
Will he ever race again?
Yeah.
If he does, he's not going to drive the 88 like everybody thinks. That would be great. I hope, when he retired, I was like, really? Because this is a guy that, was in contention for championships, healthy, good dude. I don't know. I really want to see Carl back out there racing. Maybe he'll do some other type of racing, but sometimes when somebody leaves and comes back, it's not that, when Jeff Gordon came back to fill in for Junior, it wasn't that great. It wasn't like you can just step right in and do great. It's not like that. But the Carl Edwards thing has just always been a mystery to me.
Riki Rachtman with us right now. So you're here, you're hanging out with our buddies over at Death Wish Coffee.
Yes.
But learned a lot about Riki's ride. So you're going to tour all 48 states on your motorcycle.
Yeah. Customer before I became, involved with them. And, I love riding motorcycles, and I've always ridden with some fun people. And, we would always do these little trips. It was like me, Gilby Clarke, that was in Guns N' Roses, and Tammy from Pastor Pussycat. We'd like ride to Sturgis and do stuff like that. And then I just started riding more and more and more and more. And since then, I've been coast to coast 7 times, Mexico to Canada 3 times. And I came up with a term that I actually came up with this today, and I've used it twice so far, and it's called Trump tweeting. And what it is sometimes you put something on Twitter and you just put it out there and you're like, what did I just put? And then you got to back up what you just put, not realizing what you put out there. So what happened was, and that's not an anti-Trump or pro-Trump comment. That's just putting something out there. So I was supposed to ride to Alaska by myself until I heard that Alaska's a lot of gravel and moose chase you and attack you. Okay. In gravel, I'm going like 10 miles an hour, and a moose. So I said, and so then when I said, I'm not going to do that, and I really said, I go, I'm just going to do every single state and tweet. And then I was like, it's a lot of riding. So it's going to be like probably about 13,000 miles. Woo. And John from Death Wish knows that, I was at Death Wish, and I'm like, I know I got to hit Pennsylvania tomorrow. Where should I go? I don't know where I'm going. I just know that I was supposed to hit Pennsylvania last week, but everybody went on Twitter and said, hey, why don't you take the ferry from Delaware to New Jersey? So I did that, realizing, I missed Pennsylvania. So now I have to go back to Pennsylvania tomorrow. And from June 12th to 5th, I'll be in North Carolina. Then July 5th, I'm going to leave, and I'm going everywhere. I'll be on the road for a month and a half. I have live tracking. You can see where I am. People come and meet me at gas stations, and it's me by myself. It's not like if I was with an entourage, people are like, dude, Riki Rachtman, Headbangers Ball. But they're like, there's Riki pumping gas. And so they come up and they're like, hey man, what's going on? I'm like, hey, how are you? And it's so much fun. Today at 3:30, I'm going to be at Death Wish, which is in Round Lake, New York. If anybody wants to come by and take a picture with Dolly, my motorcycle, which is Indian Chieftain. I'm riding an Indian for the first time. I've always ridden Harley Davidsons. Okay. This year I'm riding a really cool Indian. It's going to be at Death Wish with me today. Come by at 3:30. And it's really cool because America's great. Okay? America was great before. America's great now. And I know because I've seen every single state in America. I've been to every place in America. And I pull into places looking like some dirty biker, and people talk to me that don't know me from Headbangers Ball or NASCAR or WCW or anything. They just talk to me.
Daisy of Love probably then, right?
You know what? When that was on, I got recognized more than anything when Daisy of Love was on. And I love doing that show. But then, the people that were watching it were, I don't know, they were in their whatever age group, and they forgot like right away. That was like, never mentioned Daisy of Love, which I love doing. Headbangers Ball, it's like every single day still.
But yeah, that was iconic. Like that was.
Yeah, I didn't realize it then, but now it's like, it's like every single day somebody says something about it.
It's the only place you can hear metal.
Yeah,
it was the only place it was like safe to hear metal.
I didn't even watch the show because I was out Saturday nights. Like I was just doing it like.
All right, I was a loser, Riki. I'm sorry.
No. You were probably 4.
No.
But no. I also am weird that I don't really watch myself on TV.
Yeah.
Because, there's a lot of people that give me a hard time when they see me on TV. Well, I'm one of them. So, the ride stuff I am very proud of. And I like to look at the little videos I post. And I love it when people retweet my stuff. And, I'm also raising money for Claire Wineland Foundation, which helps families and kids with cystic fibrosis. So the ride is so much fun. I love doing it. I love meeting people. And I like that we're raising, money for Claire.
Is there a certain spot you're looking forward to getting back to in all this entire ride? Like one state, one area?
It sounds so cliche. What happened is one time I was riding in North Carolina and I was just like, God, and that's NASCAR land, Right. And I was like, I just really like North Carolina and understand that I've grew up in Hollywood. I lived in Hollywood my whole life. And then I just said, screw it. I moved to North Carolina 2 years ago. So I live there now.
Did you do Racing Rocks?
Yeah. But I've been Racing Rocks for 15 years. I was doing it from Hollywood.
Okay.
And, I really like North Carolina, but I'm excited to go do the Blue Ridge Parkway. I'm excited to go to the Chicago Open Air Festival, which is a big concert. I'm excited to go to the Indian Factory, where they make the motorcycles in Spirit Lake. I just like I can't think of there being a state. One thing that I do, and I won't get all like hippity dippity with you, I promise, but one thing I do every single year is I go to the San Juan Islands in Washington, and I go to this place which you can see orcas all the time. And
really?
I go on boats and I go on kayaks, and all I do is look at, because I'm like a real big anti-captivity thing with killer whales.
Right.
So I just go and I just look at killer whales, and I do that every year, and that's my favorite thing to do on the planet. I just sit there on the rocks and watch killer whales, or I go out on boats and watch killer whales. And that's really cool. I love to do that.
That's awesome. Riki Rachtman, you know that Americade's going on, like right up the road.
And I was at Laconia yesterday because everybody knows you go to a bike week the day before it starts. And and so then I get there and then they're like, Americade, which I thought was odd that it'd be the same weekend as Laconia. But everybody says that Americade's like really killer. But I don't know what's going to happen. I know I'm going to be at Death Wish today at 3:30. Right. And I know I'm going to be at Nanola tonight. And I know that I'm really, really tired. And I do know that you can drink too much Death Wish coffee in a short period of time because I drank the coffee, I drank the nitro brew, and then I ate Death Wish chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm like, and I'm always like that anyway. And I'm like, I'm tired.
Yeah, you crash out.
So I'd like to go to Americade, but I don't know. I might. I never know where I'm going to go. Just to have fun. And I want people that listen to this show to follow me on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook at Riki Rachtman, RIKI. And I really like it when people suggest places for me to go. And it could be, hey, this place has got the best biscuits, Right. I really like that one, actually. And, or whatever certain towns or famous grave site or, I'm supposed to go to Pennsylvania and I don't know if I want to go to the Hershey tour because I heard it's very amusement parkish.
Okay.
So if anybody has any cool places to send me to in Pennsylvania, I'll do that tomorrow.
RickysRide.com, ClairsPlaceFoundation.org, and then
you can donate to her foundation from the website RickysRide.com, RIKISRIDE.com.
And then you can also see where you are at that time. Like I was and I'm watching
live tracking. I have live tracking, which everybody said, that's a really stupid idea. And they're like, they're like, anybody can find out where you are at any time. I'm like, and this is a stupid idea. Why? And they're like, because people can find you at any given moment. I'm like,
that's the point of the ride.
I don't care.
That's the point of the ride.
And,
And don't forget about that live 1-year anniversary Death Wish Vodka anniversary party, 7 to 12 today. Live music at the Meet Riki as well.
Yeah, I'm going to be there too.
Is that the one at Nanola?
That's right. Yep.
Have you ever been there?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I heard it's pretty cool.
You're going to love it.
Good.
Yeah. There's you're hanging with the Death Wish guys. You're going to have fun. Yeah. There's really, they take things that are normal and then like a warehouse and all of a sudden it's a playland.
Yeah. I've known these guys for a couple of years. We fit in. I fit in really perfect with those people. Let me say something.
I love it.
For better or worse.
Riki, thanks for taking the time to come here.
You.
We really appreciate you. And again, RickysRide.com, ClairsPlaceFoundation.org, and then follow Riki on Twitter, and we'll post all that stuff on the station Facebook and all that fun stuff.
Who do you guys like for the NBA Finals?
Oh,
I guess it's stupid to ask.
Yeah,
right?
I took the Cavs, and I'm about to lose a bet. That means I have to wear our other shows, like a sandwich board promoting the other show on the station, walking up and down the main drag here.
Living in North Carolina, I mean, my team is the Clippers because I'm just a big Blake Griffin, Chris Paul fan, but I kind of started liking the Hornets just because it's fun to go to the games, but they're not that great.
Right.
But everybody in North Carolina really loves Golden State because Steph Curry's from there.
Right.
And he went to Davidson, which is not like that's real close to me. So in Charlotte, there's a lot of Golden State fans, and I like Steph Curry. How can you not like Steph Curry?
Yeah.
Well, I bet you can't. You can't.
Right now,
you got a lot of reasons why you don't like Steph Curry.
I'm gonna hate him for about a week, and then I'll go back to all of them again.
Yeah.
Riki, thanks so much.
Thank you.
John from Death Wish, thank you.